Commissioner Trevino.
The decision should be modified. I agree that the claimant has failed to establish good cause for his failure to appear at the prior hearings. However, the commission must consider the merits of the separation based on the evidence available at the time of the first AT hearing. The employer testified that the claimant was discharged for his failure to meet with the employer's production goals, and that the claimant met the performance expectations during 3 previous weeks. However, the claimant's statement to the commission established that the production goals were increased, and there is no evidence that the claimant was ever able to consistently meet the employer's enhanced performance expectations. Since there is no evidence that the claimant consistently demonstrated the ability to meet the required production standards, the claimant's failure to meet those standards cannot be deemed misconduct. Modify the AT. Claimant did not have good cause for missing the AT1 or AT2. No misconduct, chargeback, void adequate response.
We should modify the appeal tribunal decision concerning good cause for missing the AT2 hearing. Although the claimant was sent the AT2 hearing notice to his correct address or record, the claimant did not follow the instructions and did not call in for the hearing. As such, the claimant did not establish good cause for missing the AT2 hearing. Concerning good cause for missing the AT1 hearing, the records show that the claimant missed the hearing because he forgot about the scheduled hearing. As such, the claimant did not establish good cause for missing the AT1 hearing. Concerning the job separation, although the claimant suggests that his job separation arose from a failure to meet the production quota, the claimant was previously able to meet the employer's expectations. Moreover, since the claimant was provided adequate training and the necessary support to improve performance, the claimant's failure to meet the employer standards was mismanagement of his position of employment. As such, we should modify the appeal tribunal decision. The claimant did not establish good cause for missing the AT2 or AT1 hearing, misconduct, no chargeback, sever the adequate response, employer response.
Claimant did not establish good cause for AT1 or AT2, misconduct, no chargeback, sever adequate response.
Short form dissent, ma'am.
Case number 3441393, Commissioner Trevino.
The employer's inconsistent testimony lacked credibility and failed to establish that they had good cause for missing the AT2 hearing. The claimant's credible and persuasive testimony of non-receipt of the AT1 hearing notice established that the claimant had good cause for missing the AT1 hearing. Additionally, the record before the commission from the AT2 hearing was sufficient to support the AT2 decision that the claimant was qualified for benefits. The claimant's final attendance infraction occurred after she was assaulted. Her phone was stolen. The claimant had no phone to report her absence until she was able to locate one at her neighbor's house. She called and reported her absence due to the injuries received from the assault. Modify the AT3. Employer failed to establish good cause for missing AT2 hearing. Claimant established good cause for missing AT1 hearing. No misconduct, no chargeback, MVI.
The appeal tribunal decision should be modified. First, it did not contest the good cause issue for either party. As to the job separation, the claimant was fired for violating the employer's attendance policy. While the claimant provided explanations for attendance violations, they were explanations that were inconsistent and cast doubts on their credibility. Accordingly, the weight of the credible evidence establishes that the claimant's violation of the employer's policy, in light of a prior final warning, constituted work-connected misconduct. Should therefore modify the AT decision. The employer did not have good cause for its non-appearance. The claimant had good cause for her non-appearance. Misconduct, no chargeback, adequate employer response.
Employer did not establish good cause for AT1 or AT2. Claimant established good cause for AT1. Misconduct, no chargeback, adequate employer response.
Short form dissent, ma'am.
Case number 3441474, Commissioner Dimerson.
We should affirm the appeal tribunal decision. Despite TWC sending written notice to the claimant to attend a re-employment service orientation, the claimant missed the appointment. The claimant received the notice late because she was not residing at the address she had provided TWC. Because the claimant missed the appointment due to circumstances within her control, she did not establish good cause for her absence. Thus, the ineligibility and resulting overpayment are appropriate. Should affirm the AT decision, profiling not eligible October 30th, 2022 through November 5th, 2022, overpayment of $461.
The AT decision is not supportable. The claimant was unable to attend the profiling appointment because she was staying with a relative due to a change in her living circumstances as a result of her unemployment. The claimant was not aware that she missed the appointment until the day after the orientation was held. She rescheduled her appointment for the following week, but no one joined the call to conduct the orientation. Since the claimant made a good faith effort to attend the appointment she missed the following week, the ineligibility of her failure to appear should be reversed. Reverse the AT, reemployment services eligible, no overpayment.
Reemployment services eligible, no overpayment.
Short form dissent.
Case number 3458405, Commissioner Trevino.
The AT decision is not correct. The claimant notified her employer that she had a health issue, which made it difficult for her to perform her assigned job tasks that required her to push a heavy cart down a long hallway. The claimant informed her manager of her inability to do the job for that specific day, and that the employer failed to accommodate or address her concerns. The claimant denied being insubordinate and disrespectful. She was given permission by her employer to clock out for the day and return to work the following day before her employment was terminated 1 week later. The claimant's sworn testimony should be given greater weight than the employer's secondhand hearsay testimony. The claimant's actions were not insubordination and did not rise to the level of misconduct. Reverse the AT, no misconduct, bill reimbursing employer.
We should affirm the appeal tribunal decision. The facts are not in dispute. The claimant refused to perform her assigned duties. These were not new, as she had been performing them during the week. Because insubordination subjected the claimant to termination under the employer policy, the claimant's willful refusal to follow instructions and carry out her assigned duties constituted misconduct connected with the work. We should affirm the AT decision, misconduct, reimbursing employer, not bill.
Misconduct, reimbursing employer, not bill.
Short form dissent, ma'am.
Case number 3462382, Commissioner Dimerson.
The AT decision is not supportable. The employer gave clear and consistent testimony that it did not receive the notice of maximum potential chargeback that was sent electronically on June 10th, 2021. The testimony from the witness concerning the trouble the company had with accessing the TWC website was credible, particularly when one considers the fact that in the summer of 2021, TWC systems were still having issues keeping up with the volume of claims, notices, appeals, and responses. In my opinion, the employer had furnished sufficient evidence providing non-receipt of the original chargeback notice, and the company promptly responded in writing once it learned of the chargeback. Accordingly, we should reverse the AT decision. The employer filed a timely protest and resubmit the case on the merits of the chargeback issue.
The AT decision should be affirmed. The notice of maximum potential chargeback was added to the employer's electronic inbox on June 10th of 2021. The employer's protest was filed well over a year after the deadline. The employer argued that they always had issues with accessing the online inbox, but if the employer had difficulty accessing the inbox, they were required to contact the commission representative to resolve the problem, rather than merely ignoring the correspondence sent to them. We have repeatedly held that the parties are required to monitor their inbox when they sign up to receive electronic correspondence, and the employer's failure to do so in this case did not provide them with the exception to the timeliness rules. Affirm the AT, late protest to the notice of maximum potential chargeback, Employer's account remains charged.
Resubmit after a fraud investigation.
I'm gonna agree with the chairman, so, yeah. Thanks.
Case number 3472742, Commissioner Trevino.
The AT decision is not supportable. There is no denying that the caseworker neglected her duties, causing a tragic outcome of the employer's client, and that the caseworker deserved to be discharged. However, the claimant's actions did not rise to the level of misconduct connected with the work. The caseworker informed the claimant that an appointment had been set up, her documented and location of the child, and she did not indicate any risk factors that would have put the claimant on notice to escalate the case. The claimant worked for the employer for 5.5 years and had no disciplinary history. Reverse the AT, no misconduct, bill reimbursing employer, void adequate response.
We should modify the appeal tribunal decision. The claimant was responsible for the caseworkers he supervised. It was his responsibility to ensure that they performed their jobs and followed the protocols in place to protect the individuals in their care. He had the authority to compel the caseworker to act, yet failed to do so. Thus, the claimant mismanaged his position of employment, which modified the AT decision, misconduct, reimbursing employer not bill, sever the adequate response issue.
Misconduct, reimbursing employer not billed, sever adequate response.
Short form dissent, ma'am.
Case number 3483225, Commissioner Dimerson.
The appeal tribunal decision should be modified. The claimant was discharged for making inappropriate comments at the workplace. The employer also testified that the claimant had been warned previously about similar incidents and was informed that future violations could result in termination. Nonetheless, an employee reported to the employer that the claimant had made unwanted sexual comments to another employee. After investigating, the employer concluded that the claimant had engaged in inappropriate conversations with multiple employees. Given the detailed nature of the comments described by the employer in file documents, the employer's evidence should be given greater weight than the claimant's denial. She therefore modified the AT decision, misconduct, no chargeback, sever adequate employer response. In the alternative, I could also agree to rehear this case to request that the employer provide the finding of its investigation to the commission, including any witness statements and testimony from any witness involved in the final incident.
The decision is not supportable. The employer terminated the claimant based on allegations that he made inappropriate comments directed toward other employees. The employer failed to present any firsthand testimony regarding the claimant's conduct. The claimant denied that he made any lewd comments and presented sworn testimony that other employees made inappropriate comments directed towards him. Therefore, the employer has failed to meet its burden in establishing that the claimant was terminated from his job for misconduct connected with the work. Reverse the AT, no misconduct, chargeback, void adequate response.
Rehear.
Case number 3488483, Commissioner Trevino.
The decision should be modified. The claimant was discharged for unsatisfactory attendance after exhausting her allotted leave hours because her son had the flu and she had to take him to the hospital and then care for him at home. The claimant had a conversation with the manager prior to missing the days in question and requested to use PTO because her son had the flu, but she was told that the PTO would not cover her absence. There is no evidence that the employer requested any medical documentation from the claimant. Since the claimant was discharged due to attendance issues caused by the medically verifiable illness of her minor child, the claimant was discharged for reasons other than misconduct connected with the work. Modified AT, no misconduct, no chargeback, MVI.
We should affirm the appeal tribunal decision. The claimant exceeded the number of hours allowed by the employer for unauthorized absences. Because she violated the employer's attendance policy, the claimant mismanaged her position of employment. She therefore affirmed the AT decision, misconduct, no chargeback.
Misconduct, no chargeback.
Short form dissent, ma'am.
Case number 3491550, Commissioner Dimerson.
The appeal tribunal decision should be affirmed. The claimant initiated the job separation to train for a position with a different employer, which is a personal reason. The claimant testified she returned to work for the named employer afterwards. Since the claimant initiated the job separation for a personal reason, and since the claimant initiated the job separation only to train for another job, she quit without work-connected good cause. She therefore affirmed the AT decision, voluntary leaving.
The AT decision should be reversed. The claimant did not quit her job, and she was still employed when she took 1 week off from her job to train for a part-time position with the new employer. The claimant was not working full-time hours with the employer. She took 1 week off from her job to train for a higher-paying position, and she should not be disqualified from receiving benefits. Reverse the AT, no voluntary leaving.
Voluntary leaving.
Short form dissent, ma'am.
I move we accept staff recommendations on the remaining UI cases on docket 42.
The second, the chairman's motion, accept the cases on which I'm dissenting as reflected in the UI short form dissent list for docket 42.
I concur with Chairman's motion and except for those cases on which I am dissenting as reflected on the UI short form dissent list for docket 42.
Motion passes with the exceptions noted. Thank you. Is there any other order of business come before the commission?
None here.
None here.
Will we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn, and we're adjourned.